It's time to set your real estate investing goals for 2022. If you haven't done it yet, we're already actually a little bit late in the process. So I want to get you started. I actually did a webinar on this last night, couldn't record it. So I'm just going to reproduce that content so everybody can see it now. This is setting your 2022 real estate investing goals. My name is Jonathan Green. I run an off-market property acquisition company called Streamline Properties. I also have a big real estate team called Streamline Properties on Market. We're brokered by eXp Realty. I've been investing for more than 30 years. I coach a lot of investors on our weekly Zoom calls. And these are my top tips to get you set up the right way for 2022 as a real estate investor. As you can see, actually over this shoulder here, Zen in the Art of Real Estate Investing is our branded, will be a podcast soon, and also for all of our Zooms. But listen, setting your goals is really important, but to set your goals, they have to be realistic goals. And sometimes we get a little ahead of ourselves, and new investors are just trying to figure out how to scale before they can even really step into the room. So I'm going to give you 10 questions to ask yourself right now. And then I'm going to give you 10 tips for setting your goals in 2022. And then there actually will be a follow-up Zoom in early December to go over the 2022 goals. So let's do it. 10 questions to check as you plan for 2022 as a real estate investor. Number one, the most important thing you need to know is financing. Where is your money coming from? Are you going to go, and this is in a hierarchical order from easiest to hardest? Well, not necessarily, but let's go over your financing options. Cash. Listen, when I say cash, I mean your cash. Cash in your bank account. When I say cash, I don't mean hard money, private money, any type of modified money, line of credit. That's not cash. Cash is cash that you pull out from your own account, or you show in your account and hand over as part of a transactions. Then you have your hybrid cash products, which is a line of credit, which can be a home equity line of credit, traditionally called a HELOC, or a personal line of asset-based credit that you get based on assets that you have, or you can use margin at a low percentage off stock portfolios. Then you have private money and hard money. Hard money is the riskiest of them, between 12 and 14% for new investors, usually 2 to 3 points. So it does come with some risk. And then you have mortgage. You have your traditional conventional mortgage, you have FHA, you have 203K, which is your rental loan, a bunch of other hybrid options. But what is your financing going to be? How are you going to use your money to get the investments? And if you're thinking, well, I don't have any money, I'm just going to do seller financing or something else, it's not a great way to get into it. I like the idea, but that's better for experienced investors. So you got to figure out how you can make the money so you have a down payment and where it's going to come from. Number two, how much do you really want to spend? I think sometimes people think, well, I got pre-approved for 700, so I'll just spend like up to 700. Why? Maybe you want to turn that into 2 investments. You don't have to spend the amount of your pre-approval, or because you have, 400K liquid, you don't have to dump it all into one deal. Figure out the best way to use your money. So how much do you really want to spend on your next investment? Think about it as we get to the next, the 10 setting goal things, and there a lot will be related to these questions. What's your education level in regard to real estate? How much learning have you done to make yourself comfortable in the space and able to be ready to buy? Learning can be in-person interaction with other investors, real estate investor Zooms like we do, 4 of them a month. Podcasts are great for learning about real estate investing. I'm going to give you my 3, what I think are the best podcasts to really learn about investing. You may not like every episode, but these ones will get you in there. Obviously, Bigger Pockets podcast, they're over 500 episodes, great to listen to. Bigger Pockets Real Estate Rookies podcast is really good. And then one of my new favorite is Target Market Insights with John Kasman. Really great information, definitely for seasoned investors, but there's a lot you can learn from it. Number 4, how many properties have you seen in person? This is really one of the most important questions I can ask you. Because if you haven't seen any properties in person, you're not nearly ready to buy. The only way that you can start to get ready to buy and to fixate on your 2022 real estate investment goals is to see as many properties as possible. And to do that, you need to find an investor-friendly agent who's not going to be put off by showing you a bunch of dumps on a Saturday, because they like looking at dumps, because they like investing also. So these things are very important. But how many properties have you seen in person? If you're answering 0, you're not ready yet. You have to understand what houses smell like, look like, feel like, and everything else about them to really start to get a gauge for what 200K looks like in your market or in another town. The only way is to see the properties. Do you need to use any partners to close a deal? That's number 5. Is this just going to be your money? Or are you banking on another partner? And if so, how far along are you in securing that agreement? Are you both on the same page? Number 6, have you narrowed your next investment market to 3 areas? This is what people really don't like when I give it to them, but it's what you need to do. If you are open to 5 states and any area in those states, you're not ready to invest. Or you just may not make a great investment because you not doing the work to have that target down. If you want to invest in Ohio, what's the town? How much do you know about the town? If you can become an expert in one area, then you've created an advantage for yourself. If you have a competitive advantage in a market, whether you live there or not, you're going to be able to figure out if those deals are better. If you're looking at 16 different cities in 11 states, you're not an expert. You're just hoping that somebody tells you what to buy, but that's going to mean lost money somewhere in that equation. Number 7, do you have a team set up, attorney, title, lender, investor-friendly agent? Do you know contractors, plumbers, electricians if you're going to flip or burr, or even if you just need repairs? When should you set up your team is always a question asked, but do you have one piece of this team in place? Here are some ones that are a little bit off the map that people won't expect when you're setting real estate investing goals. Number 8, do you have someone who will tell you the truth? Like seriously, about your property. Because if you're looking for an echo chamber, you're going to make bad deals. If you just want everyone to tell you how good you are at investing and pat you on the back and, oh, I love it, this property is great, pay whatever you want for it, your rehab costs sound great, you're not going to do well. Let's just be honest about that. You need someone who knows about investing, who's willing to tell you the truth and tell you, like, do not do this deal. That's why they call me the deal killer. I think it's a nice nickname because I tell people, like, don't do this deal. You're going to regret it. Why else would I tell someone that if it wasn't true? I don't want the property. Number 9, how much do you know about rehab costs from small to big? That obviously applies to your education. But do you even understand what things cost? Do you know how much kitchen counters cost? Do you even know how much appliances cost? Do you know how much it costs if your furnace breaks? What about a hot water heater? What's the difference? How much does it cost to put in central air? If you don't know any of these things, you have to learn them, because in any type of investment, whether it's flip, burr, hold, Airbnb, things break. You need to know in advance how much it costs when they break, because a lot of times in inspection, you have things that are near end of life that you can't get credit for, but you have to account for that in CapEx because it's coming up sometime. You're just going to try to ride it as long as you can. Number 10 on the questions to just get yourself prepped: how passive do you want your investments to be, and will you pay for that passivity? So I personally don't think real estate investing is passive in any way. I really don't like the term. If you're a landlord, it's like a lot. But if you want it to be passive, you have to pay for it, and you pay for it in terms of management, or you're paying, you're putting your money into a syndication where you really don't have any control. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. So those are 10 questions to ask yourself now. And now I'm going to give you the 10 tips to setting your goals for 2022 for your real estate investing journey. What I want you to do is go through these, write down the answers, and then pay attention on this YouTube. And we're going to follow up with a Zoom just on setting your goals. So be on the lookout for that. You can also hit our mailing list, which will get that information out there as well. It's always in the description below on YouTube. Here we go. This is 10 tips to set your goals for 2022. Get your pen ready, or open another window on your computer, whatever you want to do, or your phone. Here you go. Number 1, how much money do you want to leave in real estate in 2022? And what I mean is, how much do you want to just stay in it? Because those are down payments. important to know your financing, how much you want to spend, but you have to know going into 2022, how much are you committing to leave in real estate? Because if you tell me 100 grand, the first thing I'm going to say is, depending on your market, well, you might be able to do 2 or 3 properties then. But let's be careful with how you get your first one, so you make sure the rest of that you want to leave in is protected. We're not talking, remember, it's just 1 year. We're planning for 2022. So your refi strategy for BRRRRs and stuff probably going to happen next year, especially if you're doing a house hack or something like that. So it's how much can you afford to just leave inside real estate as down payments in 2022? Think about it. Number 2, what's your next investment? Don't tell me whatever's good. Don't tell me like anything that comes up, because that's not taking control of your investment journey. In order to take control of your investment journey, I want to know what you want to buy next. Are you ready for an Airbnb? Are you ready for flipping? Or do you just want to get that first house hack in there? You have to know, because to be a good investor, you can't think like, hey, whatever's good. That's lazy. To just going to tell you the truth. It's lazy. It's somebody bring me a deal that's good, but you're not doing any of the work. You have to do the work to decide, this is really what I want to do next. I'm ready for Airbnb. And then that changes what properties you're looking at. If you're not, you're never going to be focused, just like the towns. Number 3, are you personally prepared to manage your next investment? Apologies about the dog. This is the fun of working from home. I just heard the mail person pull up, and probably going to get some more dogs. Number 3, are you prepared to manage your next investment? If you're a house hacker, are you ready to be a quasi landlord? You're a landlord. If you're going to buy a 4-plex or a 6-plex, are you ready to be a landlord? Are you ready to manage the property managers? Because don't tell me that you think you're going to hire a property manager and you're going to do nothing, because you can just throw the money out the window right now. You're going to lose on that equation. Are you prepared? Do you know enough to manage your next investment, whatever it is? Number 4, how many properties do you want to see in person in 2022? Remember, I asked you before, how many properties have you seen in person? Now I want to ask you, how many properties do you want to see in person in 2022? And I'm telling you, it should be at least 25. I really feel like you need to see 25 properties to really have an idea of what you're doing long-term. And remember, it's different if you're looking for Airbnb or long-term holds or flipping. You're looking at different type of properties. But like 25 is a good target. So it's imperative to have an investor-friendly agent on your team who can work with you and also likes investments. So when you're looking, it's like fun for both of you. Number 5, what is your number 1 investment area for 2022? You have to choose. If you want to be a good investor, you have to choose. What is the number 1 area where you want to make your next investment? And don't tell me like, oh, Philadelphia. Like Philadelphia is like 100 little areas. Where in Philadelphia? You know, what town do you want to invest in? If it's just a suburban town, where are you going to do it? If you're figuring out what your next investment is, you're ready to manage it, you know how many properties you want to see, you should know what your number 1 investment area is. Pin it down, and it's going to help you focus and get the competitive advantage in that area that you need. Number 6, these are the interesting ones that goes back to my background as a life coach as well. Who's the most important person in your real estate investing journey besides yourself? Is it your spouse or partner? Is it your business partner? Is it your agent? Is it your parent? Is it an uncle, a friend? Who's the most important person besides you that's going to help you achieve in your real estate investment goal setting for this year? Number 7, back to what I asked you before, who is your one person who will tell you the truth? Might they be the same people? Sometimes, but sometimes the emotional part of the relationship doesn't allow as much truth because you just want someone to be happy. Who's the person who's going to not make you happy by telling you the truth? You need to find one of them, and you need them in your real estate investing life. Trust me on that. Number 8, how many properties do you want to buy in 2022? The first question was, how much money do you want to leave in real estate in 2022? Can you figure out how many properties you want to buy based on how much you want to leave in real estate? Important to know. And don't go crazy, but I will tell you, we have investors on our calls who did 13 deals in the first year. Shout out Chinmay. 13 deals, 13 doors in 1 year. You can do it. He's very smart on the data. And The more educated you get, the more you interact with other real estate investors, the more scale you can do, but don't be obsessed with scale. Get one property, make sure it's running at top priority, everything's going well, you've reduced all the CapEx, then go and get the next property. Number 9, what is one thing that you can do every day to enhance your real estate investing journey? This goes back to the One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. One thing. What's one thing that you can do every day to enhance your real estate investing journey? Is it market research? Is it watching YouTube? I mean, feel free to watch all of our investing tips. I hope they're helpful to you. Is it podcasts? Do you want to hop on and listen to those podcasts? And just if you're listening to a podcast and it's not an episode for you, just switch it out, get a different guest, find the one that's for you. Number 10, this is it. What's one thing you're going to do when you get off of this video to get started? If you've stayed this long, thanks, but let's get to it. You can't just do goal setting webinars or watch videos and then do nothing. That's what most people do. That's not what successful real estate investors do. They take in the information from someone else and then they make a plan to put it into play. What are you going to do when this is over the second you get off? I would say, look at these 10 notes that you just took, even if they're in your head, start writing them down. The most important ones: how much money do you want to leave in real estate? What's your next investment? Where's your number one investment neighborhood? Who's your truth teller? And what's the one thing you can do every day? These are my 10 tips on both. I hope this has been helpful for you. We have investor Zooms every Wednesday from 7 to 9, the first, second, third Wednesday of each month. And if you join our newsletter, which is in the description below, you'll be able to hop on those Zooms as well. I hope you have a great day, and I hope your 2022 real estate investing journey is a great one.